What's up? What's up? What's up? Welcome to This Week in White Supremacy. We were going to take the week off.
Hold on. Would you say the name of the show was?
This Week in White Supremacy?
Well, do we have to apologize for the title?
Apparently. Well, I guess, I don't know. Maybe people that hate on us no longer have to apologize
For hating?
for hating on us. Great question. And again, we were planning to just kind of go into the year. So much happened just this weekend. Like this weekend was like it was like the best of times, the worst of times, all wrapped up in one. You know what I'm saying? Like it's kind of wild. Okay, yeah, watch the microphone, my brother. With that being said, my name is Jasiri X. I'm Colt. Was that a pause? I'm sorry. Look, I'm sorry.
I just woke up and came to this. Jesus Christ.
My name is Jasiri X. I'm co-founder and CEO of One Hood Media. And in the middle.
Hello. It is Miracle, aka Big Blessing with the Big Blessings.
Miracle, you kind of your video, response to Trump went viral. You know what I'm saying? Like, just shout out to you. When Trump came to Pennsylvania and talked about not the other video, not the Miracle has had some Trump related viral videos and viral moments. We're not going to get into those past ones, but yes, yes, that was a good response. And again, it's so much craziness. We don't even have time to get into Trump's like 18-minute rambling speech about nothing. But Miracle, how do you feel today?
I feel good. We'll see. Maybe the fall of our enemies are happening this week. Maybe it will be an actual Christmas miracle. Who knows? Probably not, but yes.
Miracle. Yes, cool. And my brother just woke up, ran to the office.
Yeah, man.
Holding it down.
Sleepy and incrementally diminished.
Well, hopefully, we're definitely like, again, I want to say we're definitely taking off next week, but
who knows, man?
Who knows what might happen?
Listen,
we do have
I
a
was
video
up last
plan.
night playing video games entirely too late. I get to sleep around like 4:45 a.m.
Gotcha. Oh, wow. Okay.
I know. For me, that's crazy.
Yes,
crazy.
It definitely is crazy. That's definitely.
But I figured I was like, it's the season, right? Jingle halal. Yeah, Merry Halal Christmas, everybody.
Yeah. We're on break.
Merry Kwanzaa.
Happy Kwanzaa's on Friday. Yeah, man. So I was like, I'm gonna get up, I'm gonna take a quick nap and go to the gym. And I totally forgot about this. I ended up sleeping till 10:10. I wake up and look at my phone. Niggas is like, we ready to go? I'm like,
oh, yes. But you made it. You're here. We're here.
Alhamdulillah, man is here.
I guess when it comes to white supremacy, it's interesting. Like when I guess when all the
false news.
But it's like when you gather like all the white supremacists in one place, it's interesting. So this weekend was the Turning Point USA's America Fest. Like, wow, what creative, brilliant person thought of America Fest?
Isn't that what it's for? Isn't July 4th America Fest?
Yes. But what was new about this is this was Turning Point's first America Fest after Charlie Kirk's assassination. Basically the Turning Point is being run by his wife Erica. Interestingly enough, we'll get into CBS. I guess CBS aired this big interview with her, and it got like the worst ratings. It got like horrible ratings. So I don't know. We're at this point where what is Turning Point? Remember, Turning Point was this thing that they built that was all about like women shouldn't be working and women should be having kids. And so it is weird to see now like a woman like running it, you know what I'm saying? And we don't know how long that's going to last. And apparently at this Turning Point America Fest, all these conservatives was dissing each other. It was like Ben Shapiro dissed Tucker Carlson, and Tucker Carlson is Ben Shapiro, and Vivek was up there trying to say like, hey, accept me because I'm Indian. And of course they won't, but he tried, I guess. I don't know. But one of the main speakers was JD Vance. And JD Vance had this to say about this current moment in America's history. Only this current moment, but in this current moment, when this administration came in, here's what JD Vance had to say about it.
In the United States of America, you don't have to apologize for being white anymore. In the United States of America, you don't have to apologize for being white anymore.
So question, has anybody ever apologized to any of you all for being white? Has that ever happened in your lives?
So I'm gonna be completely honest with you.
Somebody came up to you and said, "I'm sorry, I'm white"?
Not like that.
Okay, what did they say? Wait, when was this?
This was I was like 16. I was at a fete. It was like
wait, but you're in Canada.
No, I was in the States.
Okay,
I was in the States.
Okay, this was Canadian.
Somebody had said to me, he's like, "Yo,
my bad, I'm white."
We was asking this guy why he came to this fete that we was at, and he was like, "Yo, I'm sorry, I'm just white."
I don't think that's the same
only time
thing.
I've ever heard that.
Miracle, have you ever heard a white person apologize to you for being white? Has that ever happened? Oh, wait, you said of course?
Of course.
Yeah, Miracle got them ones around her, man. She got them ones around her, man.
I got the real ones. I got the real ones.
Yeah.
But usually it's like a joking that we're like, oh.
Yeah, and that's how it was for me too. It's facetious.
Oh, I can't, eat spice.
I can't help it.
All right,
I can't eat spice.
My one friend, he's like, I'm sorry, I have no lips. I'm sorry, I'm white. It's the whole thing.
Got you.
People meant like jokes. I've never had people like apologize sincerely for being Caucasian.
Yeah,
I've had people, apologize for being like ignorant about the ways of the world. Because they'll be like, I had no idea who Mumia Jamal was. I'm sorry, I'm white. Oh, I never knew Asar Shakur.
Got you.
That type of like ignorance.
Yes.
It's never been like, I'm just sorry for being a white person. It's usually connected to a behavior that's been like either funny or just problematic.
Yeah, because there's never been a time in American history that somebody had to apologize for being white. There's never been a time where white institutions weren't operating at the highest capacity, where white men weren't in charge to a highest. I mean, we had, again, like every single president except one we've ever had was a white man. You know what I'm saying? We've never had a situation where, again, when we look on, the media sphere, it's not white men talking back at us. It's not white men making these decisions. Somebody retweeted this. This was a woman named Anna Horford. She said, white men are 98% of presidents, 98% of U.S. senators, 94% of Supreme Court, 90% of House of Representatives, 90% of CEOs, while making up only 30% of the population. Your oppression is non-existent. But this is that thing, right? You just had, what was it, like Trump's EOC person basically coming out and saying, have you been discriminated against as a white person? And that like as a white person,
they're gonna throw us under the bus.
Oh,
Jesus Christ!
Wouldn't hire me,
man. We about to get a cease and desist order tomorrow. They probably when the EEOC nigga was making that, he's probably looking at this like, count your fucking days, Jasiri.
That is crazy. Yes,
about to be donezo.
But I'm just saying this idea, and it is weird for somebody that faces no oppression. Like, again, and this is kind of like that idea of this America Fest, right? These folks you're trying to find oppression, or you want to be victim so bad. And that victimhood, how, where? You know what I'm saying? So, I mean.
It always brings me back to the Chris Rock joke. If white folks is losing, who's winning?
Right.
Right. Like, I mean, the oppression Olympics is something that no one wants to take the gold medal in except for white people. Like, white people always want to finish first in everything. And when JD Vance said that, because of the narrative that he's painting for his future campaign and for his constituents, it tracks, right? They're this whole, this new men's incel movement to where white people feel like they're this endangered species, that they're, God's flock that has been discriminated against and persecuted by these evil brown people. And it's a false narrative, and you don't have to go far out of your house in any direction in the United States of America to see white people doing extremely well.
Extremely well.
Partying, in droves.
Celebrating, playing a whole bunch of, not Jake Paul, but we'll get to that. But, most of the rest of them were doing great. You know what I'm saying?
But this is how much white people don't have to apologize. They could storm the Capitol and shit on the walls and get pardoned for it.
Yeah, exactly.
The government apologized to white people.
Yes.
That's the thing. And again, every time we turn around, white people are inconvenienced.
But also, bro, we're probably going to see a situation where those white people are compensated by the federal government for the loss of time. Remember, the federal government, Donald Trump is like, y'all going to have to pay me.
Yeah.
Because Donald Trump felt like he was being oppressed or victimized by his own trials that he went through. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to that dude. What was the guy's name? Jack Smith or whatever. What's the dude's name that was prosecuting Donald Trump? Because he went to this. They brought him before the Senate or Congress, and he was like, "Yo, we beyond a shadow of a doubt, we have everything we need to prosecute this man. Point blank. Period. End story." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So shout out to him for standing tall. Miracle. Again, it is this piece around like wanting to be oppressed or wanting to fight. It is wild though, because I just wanted to mention about JD Vance, because JD Vance isn't he? It's on one hand he's saying this, but then he's going home to a brown woman and brown children. You know what I'm saying? So like, if JD Vance wants to be the face of this movement, it's almost like his wife and children won't allow him to, because isn't he contributing to like the loss of the white population? Because you're sipping on your tea, Miracle.
I mean, there are two theories that are abounding from this moment. One, there is this whole conspiracy theory that JD Vance and Erica Kirk are going to somehow end up together, right? So there is this theory out there that's percolating that they're like having an affair, and she's going to be the white woman to save him from his brown wife.
Yeah.
The second theory
is him from his brown wife is crazy.
It's literally like a full-on conversation about remember a couple years ago people were talking about white genocide and how the white population was going to die not because of disease or murder, but because of race mixing. So there's this whole conversation about that. Yeah. The second thing is traditionally whiteness expands during times of upheaval. That's why we consider Irish white. That's why we consider Russian people white.
Yeah, Italian people.
And so the second theory is that this is a conversation to start including Indian people to be considered as white, right? You don't have to apologize for being white. If you're biracial, if you're multicultural, you are now white. You don't have to apologize for being white. So there's two trains of thought that people have been having.
I don't know, man.
Post this conversation. I just think that talking about the comments he made about, Omar Salah from Minneapolis, who was an American citizen, who he basically referenced being, from Mogadishu and being Somali and taking away his Americanness. It was just a sign that they do not see darker skinned Africans as white people. This was, as long as you are not African, as long as you are not Black, you were white. And so that's kind of the conversation that people are having. And so that's, it is what it is, but it just shows that this administration has nothing to run on but white supremacy. They haven't increased jobs. They haven't made prices go down. They haven't made groceries more affordable. They haven't made rent more affordable. They haven't helped people. So all they have to say is, we have white supremacy. So at the end of the day, even if you're dirt, cheap, poor, and broke, you're white.
Right, because it is right. So JD Vance referred to Minneapolis as Mogadishu, right? Continuing these attacks that Donald Trump had on Somali Americans, right? And again, Somali Americans who are basically there living their lives like anybody else is trying to live their lives, right? And it's like, again, if you got rid of all of the Somali Americans right now, your gas is still going to be high. Your groceries are still going to be high. Unemployment is still going to be high. Like, they're closing plants down all over the South, right? It was just some article where some Tyson processing plant, 3,000
the
jobs
chicken
gone.
plant,
Yeah. So it's like, that's not like, and so that was the whole thing. Somebody posted something where they said, like, yo, obviously it couldn't be immigrants because you got rid of all these immigrants and it hasn't made your lives better. In fact, your lives under the Trump administration is worse. So much so that, Donald Trump has to run out there and do this 18-minute like rambling speech. I guess he was on a time limit. So it's like, when you're on a time limit, but you feel like you got mad shit to say. So you try to say,
I'm mad no one has uploaded a clip of that yet with the Seinfeld music.
Because he tried to say it mad fast, right?
Yeah, he was
speaking fast,
like running facts off, just being loud and wrong, machine gun
and not right, not running lies off, and then to the point where, oh, we're going to give every military member $1,776. We come to find out that wasn't from tariff money, right? That was actually money that the military already allocated, and that money was for housing costs. And they actually said that if they gave it to you as housing, it's not taxable. But when they give you a $1,776,000 check or $1,776 check, it's actually taxable. So they're actually taking money away from you. And so so again, like, all of these distractions and all these things, but that's one of the things that Trump is good at. He's good at, like, point over there. And like you said, when he says point over there, he's normally pointing to somebody that is a black or brown. They're the bad guys. They're bad. They should be out of America. They're wrong. You have this whole movement now where they're saying all Muslims should leave America. All Muslims should be kicked out of America. In this moment, again, it's like Muslim Americans are not bothering y'all. You know what I'm saying? We're not over here. We're over here minding our own business. We're not bothering y'all. You know what I'm saying? So again, like,
I think.
Go ahead.
No, just to that point, like, Muslims are, when you find your garden variety everyday Muslims, your 5-a-day Muslims, go to the masjid on Friday Muslims, they're the most boring people on the planet.
Right.
They are the most innocuous, keep to themselves. Oftentimes they live in fear of the society that they live in. If they live in the West, they don't really converse or interact with many people. They tend to stay in these enclaves because they're terrified to come out of the house, specifically for the people that are saying, all Muslims need to go and all the rhetoric that they face against. But they're also just like extremely regular people. So like you had said before, like if you deport all these people, if you get rid of all these Muslims, all the Somalians, what does that do to the quality of your everyday life? It doesn't improve it in any form or fashion. You're still left with the same problems that existed while they were here. So clearly it's not the people that are in America, it's the people that are in power.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's fascinating but it also kind of goes back to that victimhood mentality, right? That the reason that you're not doing well as a white person is because these Somali people are here, or these Mexican people are here, or these Arabs are here, these Muslims are here, right? These Haitian people are here. And they're the reasons why you're not doing well. But then again, they're not in power. They're not controlling everything. They didn't decide to put tariffs on China. Now you can't sell no soybeans. That was Donald Trump's fault, right? They didn't decide to put all these tariffs on all these people, talking about how it was where he had to keep stopping the tariffs because Wall Street was saying, yo, you're making the values of our companies go down. That's your man's fault. You know what I'm saying? So again, they can't, to Miracle's point, JD Vance can't get up there and talk about the successes of this administration because they don't have any. What are the successes? What have you been successful at? They don't have any successes. You know what I'm saying? So they can't really talk about it. So what did they do? They willed out. They brought
the super bass. They
Nicki
turned the volume
Minaj,
up and pumped up the super bass.
And again, we watched it, right? And somebody got to tell me, like, it's wherever there are pedophiles, why is Nicki Minaj always... Why is she always
pedophilia
with the
princess?
pedophile? I mean, again, that is fascinating to me. Wherever there's a man abusing children, Nicki Minaj is going to be there defending this person. It's fascinating. So it makes sense that she goes MAGA and begins to, celebrate the Trump administration. But she was the special guest. I guess it was a surprise. Nicki Minaj and Erica Kirk had a conversation that, one of the clips is blowing up because it got a little awkward. Here's Nicki Minaj talking about her message to young men.
Think about for young men. For young men.
And for young men, don't be new scum. Yes. See, dear young men, you have amazing role models like our handsome, dashing president. And you have amazing role models like the assassin JD Vance, our vice president. And when I say that,
trust me, there's nothing new under the sun that I have not heard, so you're fine.
But is he though?
I mean, he's the Pope and Charlie Kirk, allegedly.
Does she know? And then remember, Trump almost got assassinated. Wouldn't it be fascinating if we found out
that was JD Vance?
JD Vance the whole time?
At the end of the Scooby-Doo episode, it was JD Vance.
What if JD Vance is the ultimate Manchurian candidate and we had no idea?
You know what I'm saying? Because maybe Nicki and JD has had some conversation to call him the assassin. Because Miracle, like you said, if they get married, if Charlie, remember they hugged each other real tight, like could it be?
What bizarre world are we in, man? Because
yes,
I had seen last night, like over the weekend, a lot of discourses around Nicki, and I seen like a lot of barbs was like, oh, she's trolling because every time she would make a comment about Trump, she would side eye the camera. You know what I mean? It was like, they don't realize that Nicki's trolling them. I was like, I don't know if Nicki realizes what she's doing, to be completely honest with you. Like, I think there's like you had said a couple weeks ago, what's the end game?
Yeah.
Right. And I want to ask you both this question. Is this worse than Kanye?
So there's well, it's kind of like the beginning of Kanye.
Album yet.
She has not dropped the album.
Right? Dropped the album.
Right.
Yeah. Depending on what songs we have, right? Does she have JD the Assassin song? Like what are we talking about?
No, I mean she hasn't dropped the album yet, but I think it is on par. She was talking about, she made the transphobic and homophobic remarks, up until even like on the stage, there were some inferences there. Her going against California Governor Newsom, calling him new scum in part because he defends trans people.
See, that's not what I heard at first when she said new scum.
No, it's just
I was
you didn't. Oh,
yes.
Yeah, I was like,
yeah. So that's part of it. But I do think it's on par, and I also think it's worse than Kanye because her whole entire remember when Nicki Minaj first came out, the rumors were that she was the lesbian, right? She was supposed to be the first lesbian rapper. Her whole entire promo run was all gay clubs, right? So her entire fan base from her drop until now has been the LGBT community. She was been involved, all this type of things. And now, once again, kind of like Amber Rose is betraying that community. And so I think it's worse, right? Because how do you come up with on the backs of the queer community and throw the queer community away, and then actually use your platform to encourage military intervention in a foreign country? So I think it's a little bit worse.
That's a great point. The encouraging military intervention. That's a great point.
Kanye, for all intents and purposes, had a personal vendetta that he was using politics to score. And I think that he got caught up in a lot of personal vendettas and just didn't handle it appropriately. And then now is trying to like fix it. And I think also he was kind of taken advantage of by a bunch of people who wanted his clout. And he kind of got caught up in the hype of what he thought he could be if he rode the back of white supremacy. Right. I think Nicki Minaj is just like, this is who I've really been this whole entire time. And I really never liked y'all. And I'm irate that I had to be around y'all in order to get to where I am. And now I'm just going to fix it and be like this holier than thou Christian conservative who's apparently the person I've been this whole entire time.
Yeah, it's fascinating too, because I would say this. I would say this also. Wait, one thing.
The lowest common denominator, the weakest link.
The one thing you didn't list, Miracle, is Nicki Minaj is an immigrant. Nicki Minaj was not born, quote unquote. Right. Nicki Minaj, right, an undocumented immigrant. She was not born in the United States. So on top of you throwing the LGBTQIA community under the bus, right, and saying transphobic comments on stage, right, after all of these people rolled for you and was bars for you and defended you throughout all of the bullshit that you did, right, you're also an immigrant. And I think the difference is like when Kanye put the hat on, right? Remember, that was the big thing. Oh, I put the hat on. And when Kanye went to the White House, again, this is no defense of Kanye, because obviously Kanye kept going and he was like, yo, he wanted to go to the whitest of white supremacy. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, nigga tried to be a Nazi. I mean, literally, you know what I'm saying? Like, but when Kanye went to the White House, remember, he was trying to get Larry Hoover, pardoned, right? He was trying to get, so at least he had, I was like, I'm here with Larry Hoover's family. So again, you could look and say, okay, well, he's there, but he's also trying to get something for his community that he's from in Chicago. You could argue that Nicki is not going there with any type of ask for people from Trinidad, undocumented people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, nothing for Queens.
Again, not right. Right. I'm from Queens, New York, anything, right? You know what I'm saying? And it's like, oh, you mad at Gavin Newsom. Why? Because your husband got to register as a sex offender under California law? Is that what makes you mad at Gavin Newsom? Like, what did the governor of California do to you? So I think that piece, he's not going to allow your husband to just run around as a sex offender. So that's what's fascinating, the fact that you're an immigrant. And I think in this moment, right, because to embrace the Trump administration in this moment, after what we've seen them do to most of these people that have been deported, have not been criminals, right? We'll get into the whole CBS piece, but they were saying that most of the people they sent to this torturous prison in El Salvador had no criminal history, not from Venezuela or the United States, right? So they're grabbing up folks that haven't been doing anything, folks just like Nicki Minaj that have been living their lives in America, paying taxes in America, working jobs. These are the people that you're brutally grabbing up. We've seen more deaths in ICE custody than ever before, right? Already. So it's like to follow this. And again, we've seen Trump ran on straight racism and white supremacy, attacking immigrants, attacking black immigrants, attacking Haitians, attacking Somalis. So you're a black undocumented immigrant, and you've seen this man and JD Vance attack these people over and over again. But you're going to go ride for them. And I think that's what makes it so insidious is like, again, it's that whole piece of, it was the Somalis for Trump. When they turn on you, Nicki, which they will, you know what I'm saying? When they turn on you, your husband, your child, again, I mean,
there was already a clip circulating right now of Charlie Kirk saying how Nicki Minaj is not a great role model for black women.
Did you want to cue that clip, John? We have the clip.
Because that's what's fascinating to me is that she was used as a talking point, no pun intended, on many stages. You know what I mean? On many, her, Cardi, and Meg were all came under fire from Ben Shapiro and Tucker Carlson and Charlie Kirk.
Ben Shapiro one was funny though, because Ben Shapiro was like, he doesn't.
You ain't supposed to have WAP. I'm like, maybe you ain't supposed to have WAP, but that's what I want.
Ben Shapiro didn't know. But anyway, but you're absolutely right. Like, do you have that clip, John? This is Charlie Kirk again attacking Nicki Minaj and basically saying what he thinks of Nicki Minaj.
Not Nicki the Barb, Nicki Lewinsky.
I mean, Nicki Minaj, Cardi B.
Okay, Nicki Minaj is causing dads to leave the home.
Hold on a second. I don't think that's a good role model for 18-year-old black girls. I don't think that songs that are talking about like glorifying wet female genitalia is exactly, I don't know which one wrote that song. Which one was it?
I think it was Ben Shapiro.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. But by the way, the role models of the 1940s and 50s for Black America were completely different.
So it is a representation issue.
Hold on a second. No, representation. It's who do you get your art from? It's what values are they putting forward? It's the question of every day. For example, more times than not, black politicians will lament the condition of America. It's systemically racist. It's terrible. What does that do to a 14-year-old black kid if you just find that you hear that everything is rigged against you? Instead, they should be saying, hey, there might be some barriers, but if you believe in yourself enough, you can achieve in this country. It creates a form of social conditioning of low expectations.
First off, I'm going to quote Miracle. It's always a man.
Yeah.
Right? Trying to determine the humidity of female genitalia is just crazy to me.
Crazy.
Right? Like,
crazy.
I personally love the damp regions.
Okay.
Right?
Okay, brother.
Oh
okay.
But
okay. Do we have a title, damp regions? Come on, brother. Come on.
But I think it's, what is Nicki Minaj saying that a lot of these rock stars haven't said? What is Nicki Minaj doing that's so different than Ozzy Osbourne's wife or his daughter, or a lot of the people from the 90s grunge movement? Alanis Morissette had a lot of sexually explicit music. Madonna had sexually explicit music. What makes Nicki Minaj, right, eligible to be a target? Is it because she's a black rapper? Like
they're black women.
It's black women, right?
Yeah.
And I find it so infuriating also that a white man is going to get up and try to say what's best for the black community and what leaders we should sit here and have a conversation about in terms of politics and morality and all this.
Remember, Charlie Kirk,
let me just say this one final thing.
Okay.
What's more infuriating is I totally forgot about the end of that clip because there were so many black people sharing that, what Charlie Kirk has said after that point. The crowd about respectability politics and all these other things. That was like a circulated clip in the black community amongst people that, oh yeah, see, like when we say it, we're wrong, but when a white person says it, right, everybody wants to listen to him. And that was just such a whack point to me, because it's like, why are we basing the infrastructure of our community and our moral compass based off what some white bigot has to say about it? You know what I mean?
But also, I mean, Charlie Kirk has attacked Dr. Martin Luther King. Like, Charlie Kirk wasn't down. Charlie Kirk wouldn't be down. Like, Malcolm X talked about self-determination, and the Nation of Islam talked about self-determination, doing for self. These are the things that you ain't down with that. You ain't down. You'd be the first person to dismiss a Malcolm X or a Minister Farrakhan. You dismiss, if you don't got no love for Dr. Martin Luther King, what black leader are you going to get behind? Oh, Clarence Thomas. Are we going to get behind Clarence Thomas or Dr. Ben Carson? So again, this is that bullshit. But again, despite that, you know what I'm saying? Nicki Minaj still allowed herself to be used as a tool. And that's what is disappointing when you see people that obviously Nicki Minaj, like when you see the level of writing she has as an artist, it's like obviously, well, you would think like she's an intelligent person. And to see these, to see our artists, being used as these useful tools or useful idiots for white supremacy to continue to go along. But again, I think to Miracle's point, maybe this was who she really was the whole time. And it's like, okay, so now at least, again, like, according to what people were saying about Kanye the whole time, he was talking about he loved Hitler. Apparently, the whole time, that was his man. And so, like, when it finally came out, I guess, at least we know. And then we could choose our art and who we support accordingly. Do you think, like, what, I'm coming to you, Miracle, what is the next step for Nicki Minaj? Does she go on tour? I did want to say this. All right, this is my one thing before I come to you, Miracle. Apparently, Nicki Minaj said, like, we're the cool kids. right? Talking about the people at the Turning Point USA. Nicki Minaj, you're a 43-year-old woman. Like the cool kids, come on, man. Like that's what be like. Nicki Minaj, you're grown. You're a middle age, and again, there's nothing wrong with that. You know what I'm saying? No. Like, you know what I'm saying? There's nothing wrong with being older, but like you're not a kid. You know what I'm saying? You're not the determination of youth. You're not a YN, Nicki. Okay, you're not that.
No.
You know what I'm saying? So like getting up there in front of these mayonnaise sandwiches and trying to make it seem like we're the cool kids. Oh no, absolutely not. You know what I'm saying? You're not, nobody at that place. They're not setting the culture. They're not setting fashion culture, music culture, art culture, none of that.
Nah,
you know what I'm saying? No one ever looked at JD Vance and said, that's a cool man right there. Never in his life. So
he don't even get that treatment at furniture stores.
You know, I think, like you said, you know, Malcolm X talked about people being, you know, tools of the system and puppets and clowns that are used to dumb down the Black community. But I also think that a part of the conversation, it has to be that Nicki Minaj is someone who allegedly came to this country illegally. And the reason why that's important is at any given moment in time, someone, any person can call ICE on her and display, even though she was just at this rally, until she gets her documentation, anyone at any given time can still call ICE and have her put into a facility, and there'll be nothing that anyone can do. And so while she's on this stage thinking that she's going to protect herself, she really isn't. What she is hopefully trying to do is get President Trump to be like, if you pick her up, let her go. But that's not a guarantee, right?
True.
We know there are people who are indigenous, Native Americans, who have been sitting in ICE custody for weeks. We know that when we're talking about Venezuela, I believe over 50 of those individuals came here legally, did not break a law, were not subject to deportation, and were still sent to a foreign nation's prison and tortured, right? So when we're talking about why are people acting the way they are, I think we have to be very honest about like what this ICE apparatus is doing as a terroristic arm of the state. But I also think it shows that like people, when they're suffering, there's always room for people to profit. There's always room for people to make money off of it. And that's why propaganda works, is there's always going to be someone who's going to show up and be like, how can I personally make sure that if this bad thing is coming, that I'm the last in line to get hurt? I think that's what we see Nicki Minaj doing, is trying to throw people under the bus and being like, don't hurt me, hurt these trans people over here. Don't hurt me, hurt these Black women who look down on white girls and white women. Don't come after me. Don't come after Black immigrants. Come after like Black Americans. This whole conversation about why she would show up. And I'm never someone to give Dr. Umar his flowers, but I do think there has to be a conversation of why, whether it is, you know, Congressman Byron, you know, from Florida, why are all of these individuals who are Black passing, but our parents, but whose parents are Black immigrants, saying, you know what, it's okay for these these terroristic immigration apparatuses to happen, and also it's okay to come after Black people in America. That is a problem, and I think that once again we're going to be getting. I think the Trump administration is very smart to do cultural organizing in the diaspora wars. Like they are platforming Black immigrants to go against like Black Americans. They're platforming, you know, Black Hindus to go against, Indian Hindus to go against Indian Muslims. Like if you watch the stuff that they're doing, they're very tuned in and tapped in, even to the point of going, you know, picking, you know, Florida Cubans to go against, you know, Florida-based like Puerto Ricans, and how they're engaging, you know, the Hispanic and the Latino communities. So the Trump administration is like very tuned in to these cultural wars. I think it's also part of the fact that like you have Republicans who have bought billionaire Republicans who have bought social media and these social media apps, and they're able to use AI and these things to look at people's pattern of conversations. And the Republicans are now using that to send messages and to identify people in the community to then target. I think it's something that we're not really prepared for, because when you watch the TP USA America rally, it's very interesting. All the people that they pick, people look at it on the surface and go, it's very multicultural. But if you look at the conversations they're having, these are very, very cultural conversations and social media conversations that they are having, and they're buying into. So they're able to build their audience, and they're able to get people's minds thinking, oh, you know what, maybe this party is for me, when in reality they're just laying the death knell in the coffin, and being like, okay, if you hate this person over here, join us. We're going to hurt this person. We're going to hurt you too, but we're going to make sure we hurt the person you don't like first. So I think it's it was very interesting to observe.
Yeah, and mentioning, that you mentioned that, sending immigrants to foreign countries, right? One of the big stories that broke was that 60 Minutes had did this piece on the CCOP prison, the prison in El Salvador, that the Trump administration had made a deal with to send a lot of these Venezuelans. That was when they sent the prisoner Garcia, who's now free. They had to free this man, where they sent him by accident to this prison. The Supreme Court said you had to send him back. They tried to fight it. They tried to put additional charges on him that did not stick, right? And again, as a quote unquote lesbian woman standing up for white supremacy, like you just said, ironically, what we said, what Nicki Minaj might be, right? So Barry Weiss ended up pulling this piece on this prison because it didn't have enough feedback from the Trump administration, according to what she says. And now it's a big fallout. It says, basically she said, this is Barry Weiss. It says CBS News remained roiled on Monday by fallout from the decision by its new editor-in-chief, Barry Weiss, to abruptly postpone a segment of Sunday's episode on 60 Minutes that was critical of the Trump administration. Quote, I held that story because it was not ready, Mrs. Weiss said. You know what I'm saying? But according to the reporters, they said it was ready. They said it was checked 5 times by reporters. Is this just, what do you all think about this? Is this just, this is the current landscape right now? These billionaires are buying these media outlets to, silence these voices, or here's the Trump administration who was engaging war on free speech from the moment they sat down in that seat. This is where we are right now? Is this just the landscape?
There's so much to unpack with that. I think the targeting of this all and the reframing of it. I seen this video the other day. There was in 15 years, people are going to act like they weren't MAGA. In 15 years, people are going to act like, right. You know what I mean? And I think it's such an interesting thing what you can do right now, but was literally just a swipe, or just clicking send or submit or anything like that. You can destabilize entire regions from your phone now. And when you look back to this current administration, when they were leaking the invasion plans in the group chat, right? There are so many different things. Yeah, right. Because so much happened this year. So much happened this year that you forget about things like that. And they become more mild and more innocuous in comparison to what's in front of us, right? Yeah. To the point you're removing an entire news program's top marquee thing for the week because it doesn't fit the current administration's narrative. Right. That is the definition of totalitarianism. That is the definition of state-controlled media. Right. At this point, you can no longer differentiate what democracy is presented in America versus what communism is presented to or portrayed in North Korea or some of these other countries.
I agree, Farouk, and I will argue that's why you bring in a Barry Weiss, right? Because she's not a journalist. She doesn't have this background. Right. she's a willful tool for this administration. She basically has spent her whole career in this space as a cheerleader for white supremacy, as a cheerleader. You know what I'm saying? So at that point, yeah, if you're somebody that wants to have a news, apparently they ran that by the Trump administration. Like, is she a good choice? And Trump administration was like, yeah. So obviously, if they're going to run something critical of the Trump administration, they got to go through her. That's why she's there. You know what I'm saying? She's there to make sure. But like you said, from, right now we're waiting to see what list Pam Bondi has. Supposedly Pam Bondi is about to roll out some lists of people that are, quote, enemies of the Trump administration, right? They said something popped up on the DOJ website, and it was a list of immigration attorneys that were all, fighting back against the Trump administration. They're like, well, where does that list come from, and why is that there? So from day one, Trump has been engaged in a war against his quote unquote enemies, his revenge tour, right? He's getting back at everybody that, has something bad to say about him. That's being excused. No one's calling that out as being illegal and a misuse of the office, even those people on his own staff. So where we are now, I think this is where people said we were going, and we're here now. So before I come to you, Miracle, the segment aired in Canada. So now people took that segment to Canada and are sharing it on social media. And again, a person like, to quote Farouk, man like me would have never watched. I don't watch 60 Minutes. I would have never seen, if it aired on 60 Minutes, I probably wouldn't have known about it. You know what I'm saying?
See,
but
I do watch 60 Minutes occasionally.
But I'm saying, now that you tried to sink this story, now I gotta watch it. Now I gotta see it. Okay. And the short little clip I watched, I was like, damn, this is crazy. Because like you said, most of these people were not criminals, and you're sending them to this prison that is known for torturing people.
Yeah. There is an underlying narrative about this. If you're a rational person, the amount of fear that this should instill in you, right?
Yeah.
Like the amount, because they're no longer hiding the fact that they can just disappear you whenever they want. That and they're just playing in your face about it. But I think that when you see the layers peeled back of what people are actually encountering, there's also, is this happening to Americans in American prison?
Yeah.
Right? Because then it makes you think critically about the prison industrial complex that exists within the United States of America.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And
supposedly, hey bro, Farouk, supposedly there's a young woman in the ICE prison that they're said, oh, your birth certificate is fake.
Right.
This is an American citizen, bro.
And think about all the people now. And again, it calls you to, it makes a rational person call into question, well, maybe these black people aren't just lying. Maybe they are being discriminated against. Maybe these people are getting, fucked up in courts. Maybe they aren't getting a fair shake or a fair slice of the American dream. If this is happening to these people, right, why couldn't it happen here in America? And this is an interesting discourse to be held, because Trump is pushing and the DOJ is pushing for these harsher sentences for drug dealers, for the death penalty to come down for drug dealers, more prisons to be built. They're slashing the education budget. They're slashing all of these things that directly funnel people, human beings, into a human warehousing facility in America. Yeah. And now they're trying to essentially outsource jails to other countries. And when you pull something like this off of the air, right? There's such a conversation to be held about this, because if you're okay with it, right? If you're okay with it, what's that say about you? And it goes back to the JD Vance thing. It's like, white people don't have to apologize. What are you apologizing for? Are you apologizing for deportating American citizens? Are you apologizing for the state of the America that you allow?
Definitely not that.
Are you apologizing for your place in the degradation of this country? Because those are the things you should be apologizing for, not the fact that you're white. It's the fact that you've been complicit in the moral corruption and the economic destruction of the United States of America.
But that's what they want. And again, like what we're seeing play out, because it's not just any country that they're sending in. They're sending it to this country, El Salvador specifically, because one, this is a dictator, right? Again, all these people that claim they love democracy, no, you don't. Again,
Right.
you don't
They
love democracy.
They don't love democracy at all.
Because if you did, you would be pushing back against what the Trump administration is doing. So again, Trump loves dictators. So, and then this prison is also known for torturing people, for harming people, for hurting people. When they say the cruelty is the point. And so you get, and then you get what's her name, Carolyn, to go up there and say all these peoples are murdering racists. They said only 8 people that they sent to this prison. This was in that CBS piece, had any type of violent criminal record. Only 8 of them. They sent over 500 people to this prison.
What's the percentage of that?
I want to say it might have been like 3%. Miracle, what? I mean, is this just the world we're in right now? And we just got to just live in it? We're just in a...
No, I think it's one of the things is like you do not obey in advance. I think it's very important to talk about that. This is the effectively state-run media because it is billionaires buying media who are loyal to Trump, who want to get FCC approval for different mergers, saying, you know what, we'll run everything by you. And it is a way to still say that constitutionally we have a free press, but if we set rules and standards that we want the government to be a part of it, or we want the government principals to be interviewed, we are basically having a de facto state-run media, number one. Number two, I think it's also very important that, like, we talk about like Barry Weiss, who gained popularity not only just being a bastion of white supremacy, but using her identity to allow people to attack Black folks. And I think that's something that gets lost in this whole type of conversation about, you know, media and censoring information. All of these media personalities gained prominence by giving people a platform to attack Black folks. And we're gained prominence and support of the administration by attacking Black people. What people are now upset is that they are no longer just attacking Black folks, that they are now attacking the whole entire United States by taking away their rights to a free press, their rights to having media and to knowing about dissent. That is the issue. And I think you saw like this 60 Minutes, you know, interview go viral, and it got shared, you know, in chat rooms and WhatsApp groups and all over. And it shows that people are pushing back. So we don't have to ever just sit and take it. And I do think, you know, they talk about, you know, there's a letter that just went out from Epstein talking about how, you know, that Trump liked young girls, right? Giving it to Larry Nassar, who was basically sexually assaulting American gymnasts and saying Trump is just like us. Mm-hmm. We've heard rumors for weeks that Trump is in the Epstein files, right? You had, you know, Megyn Kelly, who, you know, was saying, well, maybe 15, you know, isn't a child, right? So we know all of these things are happening. What is going to take for people to stand up and, you know what, we don't have to live this way. It's going to be people to organize, people to mobilize, people to push back and be like, enough is enough. And I don't think we're at that tipping point yet, but I think we're getting fairly close, especially because people are so poor. Like I have been like traveling the past few weeks, and every state I've stopped into, every place I've been, everyone has been talking about how they can afford nothing. I've been talking to, you know, older folks who are literally talking about they're afraid they're going to go into foreclosure because they can't afford the taxes on their home anymore. There are restaurants who are closing because they can't afford the price of eggs and the price of cheese. Like there are people like, we're trying to do more vegetarian menus because we just can't afford meat anymore. Like I've had these conversations just organically from place to place, you know, and I think that is what's going to do. We are literally in a Great Depression right now. We are literally living in our own Great Depression. To some metrics, worse. We are worse than the Great Depression. And we don't have any social support networks to help people. I think it's just bad. And I think that people are not going to be happy with policing and prisons. They do not want to see war and genocide as a means to get the country out of debt. And it's like, it's not going to work anymore. Like all of these places and all of these wars, there are not enough people for you to kill to make enough money off anymore. It's like, it's a wrap on that. And so I think
then you go to war against Venezuela, but then you want all the Venezuelan people to leave. Like, where are they going to live? You know what I'm saying?
Or Nigerians, where they going to live, South Africans, like, all these people, Cuba, where do you want them to go?
You did bring up that letter, and like you said, like one of the things when we talk about censorship, right, was the fact that remember Friday was the deadline that supposedly the DOJ was going to release all these Epstein files, and not only did they not release all the Epstein files, they released these heavily redacted files, according to reports, right? The FBI spent over $1 million in overtime for people to redact these files, to take Donald Trump's name out of it. It was pictures of Donald Trump and young women that the DOJ took off of their website. But like you said, another trove came out today. It was supposedly a letter Epstein wrote to Larry Nassar. It said, we shared one thing, our love and caring for young ladies and the hope they reach their full potential. Our president also shares our love of young nubile girls. That was Jeffrey Epstein talking about Donald Trump. We know Donald Trump is in these files, right? And the fact that Donald Trump basically, had his DOJ and Pam Bondi basically redact all of these, where they were releasing files that were just straight up black. Again, this is something that should tell you we are not in a democracy anymore, right? We're not in a place. Remember when Trump came in, he was like, I'm going to release all the Kennedy files. I'm going to release all the King files. I'm going to release all the, and then they were like, but are you going to release the Epstein files? He was like, I'm not sure. I don't know if that. And so again, like, here's Republican Congressman Thomas Massie, who was one of the people calling for the release of Epstein files, asking how he felt about these files, not only the files not being released, but released in such a redacted state.
What do you think the real reason is?
These files implicate billionaires and friends of his and political donors that he's trying to protect. And Epstein also had close ties to our own intelligence agencies and Israel's intelligence agencies. That's why there's so much effort in trying to stop this. And I do believe they'll try to stop it somewhere else. And that's going to backfire on them too.
Shout out to him, and shout out to obviously, Summer Lee, our own Congresswoman, has been at the forefront of getting these files released. Again, I mean, they're not trying to fool anybody at this point.
No, not at all.
I mean, it's clear, like, yo, Trump's in these files. We know he got mad pictures of him. What'd you say?
Is Thomas Massie getting ready to run for something?
I don't know, but I think that, to me, it is significant when you see these Republicans like breaking from Trump in that way. But for this to be, remember, this is the same, so, according to other people, and I know, we're not going to, Miracle has other reasons, but, according to what Marjorie Taylor Greene said, right? That was one of the reasons that she broke from Trump, was over the Epstein files. I don't understand. Is there, and I'm becoming, does this have, or is this going to have any implications, you think, politically, Miracle? The fact that they just dropped these files off, they were all redacted. They're literally, like, in real time taking photos of Trump off the DOJ's website. Is this going to have any backlash or ramifications?
I do think so. But to have this conversation, there is part that's being outside. There is a whole conversation when it relates to Jeffrey Epstein about his role in attracting billionaires to do business, to do things that were on behalf of a foreign country, right? Yeah. That is the backdrop to all of this, is that a lot of people were basically honeypotted into going to this island, able to let their depravities fly. And as a reward, they were getting billions and billions in contracts. There is beliefs that people like Bill Gates and Bill Clinton are all these folks. And a part of the reason why our foreign policy is the way it is attached to Jeffrey Epstein. And so when Thomas Massey and Marjorie Taylor Greene and other people are talking about this, that's some of the things that they are uplifting. So there's this whole, some people say conspiracy theory, or this whole like underlining backdrop issue. And so as these reports come out, there's more and more files being put out. And in one case, somebody saw that the redacted files, if you copy them and posted them, like copy pasted, they became unredacted, right? So they're finding other people's names. There's the Harvard professor who had to step down.
Larry Summers, yeah.
But the problem is nobody is like, oh my God, like my favorite billionaire is a pedophile. Harvard is actually investigating the students who investigated Larry Summer and put it in a report. They're trying to actually punish the student journalist that said that Larry Summers is possibly involved in this pedophile ring, and he's a professor of arts, right? So what we're going to see first is like the whiplash and the preservation of trying to like keep this information quiet. But we've also seen as people been asking the victims themselves to be like, girl, release the photos that you have, release the names that you have, y'all just come out. And I think that's where we are. But my fear is that there's going to be so many distractions, whether it's the bombing in Venezuela, whether it's going to be a war in Cuba, there's going to be so much that's going to happen to prevent the release of these files, so that by the time we figure out what is actually happening, there's going to be so much devastation to protect. And that's what my fear is. So I do hope that Pam Bondi actually does her big one and basically says, you know what, I'm going after Trump. I'm going after all of these folks. I hope JD Vance, there was a conversation about the America TPS or whatever, talking about Vance is our nominee. Well, I just hope that they basically be like, we got to get him out of here. We just got to, that's what my hope is.
Because Trump's not going to endorse. Trump wants to be president for longer. Trump's not going to be with endorsing JD Vance. And people around Trump know that. And Trump will start to feel like if JD Vance is campaigning too much for the presidency, that he's doing something against him. And he'll throw him on the bus. But the thing is, and again, like you said, Miracle, there has been, online chatter around, was Jeffrey Epstein a intelligence officer for the Israeli government? The best way to clear that up is to release the files. Right, because the more you redact the files, the more you give thought to that idea. Like, oh, well, why aren't you releasing them? And again, I'm not saying it. This man is a sitting congressman. This man is the man that's leading the charge on this, right? So again, I think that's the thing. But when you openly just are like openly redact, when you go out and say the client list is on my desk, and then you say there's no client list, like. We're protecting, like you said, billionaires and elite people. It's funny because there was a opinion writer for the New York Times named David Brooks. And David Brooks wrote an opinion piece for the New York Times in November called "The Epstein Story." Count me out.
Oh,
right?
no.
Talking about
we're not going to count you out. We seen you win it. I'm a little skeptical.
This man is in the photos. Hey, so you write a whole article about we shouldn't be paying attention to the Epstein files, and you're in the Epstein. You don't say, I knew Jeffrey Epstein. Wouldn't that be relevant to the article that you knew this man and you was kicking it with this man? You know what I'm saying? Like, again, what they said part of the release today included flight records of Donald Trump. There's a photo of Donald Trump on one of Epstein's planes with a young girl smiling. Like, so all of these, I just want to sit down, all these QAnon people, all of these, we're against pedophiles. Where are y'all at? Right? And if you're telling me you're going to choose Donald Trump over pedophiles, over punishing pedophiles, then again, you really didn't care about pedophilia. You really didn't care about democracy when you say you want Trump to run for a third term. All you care about is white supremacy and continuing to push white supremacy on the world. That's what you care about. Like you said, here's Donald Trump and the Trump administration. They took a Venezuelan oil tanker and Trump basically said, we're going to keep it. That's piracy.
Yeah.
That's against the law. So again, so when you say law and order, you don't care about law and order. You don't care.
Not at all.
So it's really like your love for Trump is showing us that you're all completely full of shit. If you cared about undocumented folks, why'd you let one come to TPU? And why you keep keying with her, JD Vance?
Come on.
Why you keep keying with this person that is here illegally, according to you, right? Shouldn't she be in a facility? So again, all of this shit is smoke and mirrors, man. It's people wanting power, people wanting money, and people want to enrich themselves. And if you don't see that by now, I feel sorry for you. You know what I'm saying? But hey, guess what? In a couple days, you can sit down at that Christmas dinner and you could say, I'm going to just completely fuck up this whole celebration. Please, if you didn't do it at Thanksgiving, bring them redacted files to the Christmas table.
Let those be the wrapping papers.
Yes. Oh, that would be wow. Wrapping the gifts in the Epstein picture.
That'd be crazy. Yeah.
It was like the guy. Did you see the guy who had the ugly sweater party, and he basically printed out pictures of all of his coworkers, and he pinned it to his sweater, and he wore that to the ugly sweater party, and it was.
That's hilarious. That is great.
So yes, wrap your gifts in Epstein files. That would be an amazing way to prove your point and mess up your celebration. Get your gifts first, but you know what I'm saying? We have to celebrate Black excellence. You know what I'm saying? Black excellence was on display. You know, Jake Paul.
Oh,
again, I think I saw you post. Well, you posted the thing about the DEI thing, right? About this is actually DI, right? Here's Jake Paul thinking he was a real boxer. And again, you fighting a bunch of tomato cans and old retired people. You fight Mike Tyson, he's 60 years old, right? In an exhibition. Now you want to fight a real boxer. You thought because you beat a bunch of, off brands, right? You're going to fight a real heavyweight, a real boxer in a real match. And Anthony Joshua went in there, smiled, and broke that man's jaw in 2 places.
Yeah, man.
He gave us the shot we all wanted to see. Jake Paul get knocked the fuck out so bad that he can't even have he can't even have no Christmas dinner, bro. No,
he's gonna be drinking
turkey, no ham, nothing. Yeah. You're gonna have some turkey juice, my nigga. Like
turkey juice is crazy. They're gonna put all the stuff in the pan in the blender.
Shout out to Anthony Joshua and who's the other dude that beat up Andrew Tate. Shout out to him too. You know what I'm saying?
He's a low level. I think he was
exactly.
Andrew Tate is so Tate, so
but I'm saying Andrew Tate is so bad. He got beat by it wasn't even a real boxer beat his ass. You know what I'm saying? So these white supremacist alpha men. I mean, Jake Paul walked to the ring with 6ix9ine. You walk into the ring.
In the Hulk Hogan shit.
In a Hulk. So you're representing racist Hulk Hogan. You're getting brought in by this dude who was messing with young girls as well. You know what I'm saying? Another predator. You know what I'm saying? Got on the stand and rattled on everybody. And
they said he got escorted
out
as soon as Jake Paul hit the ring. They had to get 6ix9ine to safety afterwards.
Oh, of course.
Because they got hit out on him in Miami. Yeah.
I mean, again, you know what I'm saying? Like, no, we're not endorsing any violence on anybody, but that violence on Jake Paul that we saw in the ring, we endorse that. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to
Anthony Joshua. Can we just I was like, I can just watch him, his entrance, his post-game interview. Like, give me more of that. Inject that into my veins. Like, yes.
Hilarious. And I saw a clip where he was actually talking about how Jake Paul was also being like disrespectful to the Mexican folks and Mexican culture. And he was like, yo, I'm gonna get some get back for y'all too. So yeah, just shout out to Anthony Joshua being a good person, and then knocking that man dead the fuck out.
I think like the Aiden Rosses, the Jake Pauls of the world, who find fame by disrespecting and disparaging Black and brown people, are going to also have to find a way to like revamp in the new year, because it's not profitable anymore. I think that like it's one of the reasons why you see Candace Owens trying to rebrand as well. It's like none of this stuff is profitable. Even like Tommy Lauren, all these people, like they're trying to find something to do different. So you saw a lot of people becoming conservative for the money, for the speaking tours, for all these type of things. And now that money is drying up because people are too poor, and billionaires aren't just like dropping money on the conservatives anymore. It's going to be very interesting to watch as people are going to be pivoting in 2026 and what they're going to try to do. Because I think that if you look at social media and the culture as indicators of what 2026 is going to happen, or you look at history, as soon as you have a really dark conservative turn, you have a very progressive turn, right?
Right.
I think it's just going to be very interesting to see and who tries to rebrand and all of that.
But also remember, Miracle, the money dried up because we found out that most of them podcasts were being paid by Russia. Remember we found that out, that they were being paid millions of dollars by Russia, and then they all had to come out and be like, oh, we didn't know, our bad, I'm sorry. So once that got cut off, it's like, now how you going to get your bread? You know what I'm saying? So it will be fascinating. So again, but there's the other piece, right? Because you do have group of these podcasts that are becoming even more racist and white supremacy in their delivery and how they're doing things. And so it will be fascinating to see this. Do you have a book on the table, Farouk, that can be on white pages? And the category is, that's Inside New York's Vogue, House and Ballroom Culture, Ricky Turner. That is our white pages. You know what I'm saying? Shout out again. We're gonna, that's the whole community. Nicki Minaj just threw under the wayside. It will be fascinating to see how folks respond to this, when she puts out music, how folks will respond. Will her music change? Right?
Yeah,
because if you're going up there on some like, I'm a Christian and we're standing with Christians, are you going to do explicit music anymore? Are you going to do some form of like Christian music or Christian rap? You know what I'm saying? It'll be fascinating to see what this has in store. But, for our audience, happy holidays. We don't have nothing going on. We don't even supposed to do this show. You know what I'm saying? But here we are for the love of, making white people apologize. I don't know. With that being said, final words.
Jingle halal.
Jingle halal, Miracle.
Merry halal Christmas, everybody. Merry halal Christmas, Habibi.
And don't forget Kwanzaa.
Yes.
Habari Gani.
Habari Gani.
Yeah, Kwanzaa's coming up. Christmas, Hanukkah, all wrapped in one big bow. So celebrate how you celebrate. Be safe, but also let's fight white supremacy with us. If you want to support One Hood, you can go to onehood.org. You can donate. You can get merchandise. Holler at us, support us, help us to continue to make content like this in the new year. Until next time, peace, y'all. One Hood.